A warm welcome to a new video on my channel, dear trading and crypto friends. Today there's another update, a special update on Bitcoin and Ethereum because things are a bit boring at the moment, but something important has happened. An event concerning the USA. It's about the shutdown. In case you haven't heard about it, I hope you have, but today is the day when the funding has run out, and that means the US has to drastically scale back in various areas. People have to work for free or are put on unpaid leave, and those who have to work for free, for example, would be reimbursed for that after the shutdown is over. We looked into it a bit, and it officially takes effect starting today because there was no solution. And until a solution is found, it's possible that the market could crash again, because this is usually something that does impact the market. What's happening here is also an event that isn't exactly positive. For everyone who watched the last video, the heat map never lies. 5 billion in liquidations are waiting below us. It's still the same as before. We've just pumped up a bit again. From this price up to here, I also showed in the last video that I entered a short position here, but unfortunately it got triggered at the stop loss. Yesterday I shared this live with you on Telegram. For your time, it was early in the morning when I posted that I went short again. At first it worked well, and then I shared that we were moving the stop loss to break even, but unfortunately that one also got stopped out. So overall, if we look at the heat map, we need to compare a few things now. The 1 month heat map, guys, you can see here, there is still so much liquidity below us. It's really a lot. And we're still talking about around 5 billion or even a bit more. Because everything that caused this pump here has brought in new liquidity again. And I really don't think, I actually strongly fear that it will just be left there. And that's why I'm preparing myself accordingly. And as you can see here, I already sold a bit up here at the top some time ago, and here a bit of Bitcoin as well. And now at the very least, I'm going to sell half a Bitcoin again. I even considered selling a whole Bitcoin. Why? For me, it's just an easy move now if I say that, in my opinion, based on my analysis and my strategy. We are going to reach the price range down here. Is that going to happen now? I don't know. Will it happen? It is very likely that it will happen. That's why I'm considering whether to sell half a Bitcoin or a whole Bitcoin now. At 114,400, which is about where it is right now. Then later, when it drops to 107,000 US dollars down to this liquidation here, I would buy in again, and from my perspective, simply pocketed 7,000 or 3,500 US dollars in profit. I wanted to do the same thing with Ethereum recently, but unfortunately I didn't go through with it because of a few conversations with other traders, and I let myself be influenced a bit. But it's all good, I would probably plan it that way now. Maybe I'll even do it live in the video. But what do I want to go through with you again now? Long term, over a month, we have a lot lying beneath us. Short term, over 2 weeks, you can see that new liquidity is gradually accumulating here all the way up to 118,000 US dollars. While down here, this small part, again, we're only talking about the 2 weeks, also gradually starts to light up and the price pumps here. If we go even further down to 1 week, that's why it's so interesting right now, we're also looking at the order book, and you can see that above us, over the course of a week, there's actually quite little. And below us, again, there's a lot, and looking at all this over 3 days, it's still very interesting because it's exactly the same here. Above us, we now have new liquidity up to 116,000, which has been massively pushing the Bitcoin price down since this pump here, but at the same time, there's also liquidity below us down to 110,105. And if I'm not mistaken, I just want to quickly go through this with you, we have a CME gap. There's still a bit open around 110,000, and that's exactly this here. Here we have a CME gap. Where is the price here? That's where the candle closed. 109,000 to roughly 111,000. What do we have here? 365,000. That means in this price range, also based on what we have now, the CME price is at 115,000 US dollars. But that this gap here might also get closed into the liquidation down to around 110,500. Let's go back again. What did I say earlier? Below 10,000 and a bit, below 10,150, there would still be liquidation lying here now on a smaller time frame, just 3 days. This means even if I say now that I'm selling and we keep pumping, it's not a huge problem because I've simply taken profits. You know, I bought Bitcoin at around $3,800 and would just be taking profits now. And even if we pump again and I could have realized a bit more, I would simply buy back in if, as mentioned, we pick up the liquidity down here. And especially this shutdown, if you look at it, this shutdown that could now happen in the US, if it really becomes active and the stock market opens in America, I can imagine that this will be a short sell the news event. Such a negative event. Why should this pump? Why should the market react positively to it? We're not talking about just anything here. I also read up on it a bit with ChatGPT. It's definitely an event that's not all that nice. And until there's a solution, I can imagine that we might pick up the liquidity below again. And if anyone wants to add anything, this is really just my opinion, the way I approach things. And it is by no means investment advice, but for me, these are just negative news items that might be around at the moment, okay? I take advantage of them. If we keep pumping, it's not a problem. I still have more Bitcoin and other coins that I can sell off gradually. Of course, this could trigger a buy the news event if, before everything really starts or while the markets are opening, a solution for this shutdown and new funding comes in. Because the plan was actually to secure funding until November, I believe, but if a solution is found now, then this could become a buy the news event, despite all the negative headlines that are coming out. For me, it's therefore very, very difficult to analyze at the moment. There's liquidity above us, liquidity below us, but significantly more below us. If we look at the large orders, meaning the whale orders, and consider the price range up to 120,000 US dollars, and below that down to 105,000 US dollars, slightly below, where the liquidity is at 107,000, you can see that there are still 1.2 billion in buy orders waiting below us. But above us, it's exactly the same. 1.2 billion in sell orders are waiting above us to push the Bitcoin price back down. At the moment, it's very, very difficult to analyze whether we're going up because we have the same amount of sell orders above us as buy orders below us, which makes a proper analysis very challenging. Someone is probably going to get liquidated, or we'll see a quick move up or down to flush out the market. And since we're already at it, let's move straight on to Ethereum. Ethereum is just as interesting. As you know, we have a few Ethereum trades open here. And even if we look at the whale orders here, the large trades don't interest me right now, so we'll leave those out. But whale orders at this point in time show that we actually have very strong support. And if you remember the last videos, I said that we keep seeing this happening around 3,500 US dollars. And here it is again. It was already like this in the past. Do you remember? Leave a like or drop a quick comment if you can remember, even in the live streams where I keep saying, why are there so many Ethereum at around 3,500 US dollars? Or why do they keep getting placed there again and again? And again, since today, there's a huge cluster right here. If we take a look at Ethereum, just briefly, there's one more possible analysis for Bitcoin that I see right now before we move on. We have a triangle forming here. Maybe we'll even pump up from here. As you can see now, Bitcoin is pumping again. Here there's a possible rejection and then down, we'll see. Maybe we'll break out and then we'll have a breakout. But with the news that's coming up, I'm not so sure about that. Of course, I'd be happy about that, but I'll really get ready to sell a portion, at least half a Bitcoin, so I can buy back in later. For me, that's profit taking. But with Ethereum, we still have a possible trade opportunity. The current one is open and is nicely in profit, but there's something else, which I also showed in the last videos, and that's this big entry here. From down here to up here, if you don't know my channel yet, please make sure to leave a like. Check out the third most popular video now. It will soon be the second most popular again. In that one, I show exactly how this works. As you can see here, at $3,540, we would have a 0.5 Fibonacci entry, which is so exciting, and which, if we look at the large orders here again with this buying cluster, there are really an incredible number of millions in Ethereum long positions here, and this keeps happening at the moment. Remember, they come and they go, they come and they go, these orders. So for some reason, this is going to be very, very interesting. If we dump, if we really fall down, then of course my new long position would be here at 0.5, where I would go into the market really aggressively again. Because I think the liquidation heat map as a little side analysis isn't that interesting for Ethereum at the moment. We picked it up down here, the 4100, and even went quite a bit further down. We talked about it and also opened a few trading pots. By the way, trading pot, just so we can see that as well. Ethereum, you know, my trading pots for Ethereum, the $51,000 trading pot that I opened live with you in a video now it did not make $21 in profit. I shared with you on Telegram that there's a new event at Bitget. And if you open a trading pot there, you're part of a $30,000 or $50,000 pool. That's why I closed my old pot, took some profits. I think it was about 3 days. 3 days, if I'm not mistaken. About that, I'd have to lie otherwise. We realized $232 here. I closed that one, but at the same time, I opened a new one with the same amount, with the same settings, so I can participate in this campaign. Feel free to check out my Telegram in my alerts group. I shared it there again. You'll also find a link where you can sign up and get a VIP 1 trial pass plus a $200 trading pod voucher plus $200 in futures, so a leveraged position voucher. But that's what it would look like. I'm not to say we're falling, but I'm prepared in case something happens. Don't see me as bearish. Overall, I'm bullish. Why am I overall bullish? Because not everyone knows this, or maybe they don't know my videos yet. Of course, I'm also long. I have swing long positions, not just in Bitcoin, but also in Ethereum. This one is still $15,000 in size, but has already realized nearly $16,000 with another $4,000 still open. So I'm not bearish. No, I'm overall bullish, but I want to make the most of possible corrections for myself. And there's a difference when I say I also go short and take a neutral view of the market. That's very, very important nowadays. The growth rate that we worked on together, or if you were there, just can't really break out above its entry price. It fluctuates above and below it. The next major liquidity we have is at this yellow line at just under 17 cents. I said that if we continue to go down, I would enter here again, but what we can leave out, and that's why I put an X here, is this second trade. I'm no longer interested in it. I've made the new resolution, and at the moment it doesn't look like there's liquidity down here. If that changes, of course, I would let you know. For me, it's fine as it is right now. I've just prepared myself in case we go further down, so I need to check again whether I even want to keep it active, because the liquidity down here isn't as strong for me as it was before. That's why, big X here, I don't want to forget that, save it. I have another AVAX trade. I'm actually not sure if I shared that one with you. Let's take another look at AVAX. I know nobody wants AVAX to drop another 20% right now. But I also don't want to go long too early if we really do get a sell the news event for some reason. But if we look at it now, from the current possibilities, AVAX could drop roughly 20%. But if we look at the liquidation heat map, well, that's Aster. Here we have AVAX, and above that, I'm talking about the long term now over a month, and above that, there's actually not much. And below that, the next thing that's really striking, that was insanely crazy, that liquidation event was just crazy. But down here, the next level doesn't come until around 24 to 23.3 US dollars. And my entry for this trade is at 23.9 at the 0.786 level. We could now see this as the 0.786 because we've already had an entry here. That means down here, the 0.5 entry, it hit the take profit right here. But if we leave that out for now and look at what could be even more valid, if we just zoom out further, we know this is the 0.786. We can see it here with the entry. But if I say, let's just take the entire swing low to the entire swing high and simply use that here, then you'll see what kind of entry opportunity presents itself again. That would be the 0.681. That's a price of, let's analyze this precisely, 23,478. Let's go back to the liquidation heat map again. 23,478, that would actually be the very bottom end of this price range where the liquidations are located. Accordingly, I'll set myself a reminder as well. If we go down, I keep looking to see how much liquidity is still building up below here. And maybe I'll move my entry, which I currently have at the 0.786, also a very valid level, even a bit further down to actually use the 0.681 as my entry point here. Of course, I'll keep you updated about that on Telegram or here on YouTube as well. For me, there are actually two possible options. So I'll put a little question mark here. Sorry, it doesn't even have to be a question mark. We'll just add a little flag here so I can keep track of it again, just for myself. Of course, I want to point out that markets change and you can't always keep everything exactly the same, because if we now build up massive new liquidity on AVAX below, I would actually prefer to have an entry point that at this moment, let's see how much that would be, is still almost 3% below my current entry that I've marked. But these are positions that I still have open. AVAX, as you can see here, 23,905. One Bitcoin still at 106,800 US dollars. With Bitunix, I still have that open as well. This is simply the liquidation heat map that we have below on the 1 month chart. And even when we look at the liquidation map, which I forgot to mention earlier, sorry, I completely forgot. Liquidation map, also a very, very important tool. Before we move on to the next coin on a 1 week basis, guys, it's just so wild underneath. You see it, you see it. Up to this point, there are nearly 2 billion open here on a weekly basis. And here that's 108,004 US dollars. And we're only talking about the week here without even seeing the high leverage trades on the monthly chart. And then we also have the Doge trade. The Doge trade still looks exactly the same as before. Unfortunately, the first one hit the stop loss right on point. Unfortunately, right on point. If we pump now, so the second dot is down there. The yellow line is still valid. I do not need to go through the liquidation heat map with you again. There is simply a cluster there, which is why I am not entering at 0.786, but further below. And you can also see that where my entry is, we have an incredibly strong support and resistance zone, which has always been support here for a long time. And before that, it was resistance several times before strong breakouts happened. And here too, there is a very strong reaction. And for this reason, just as you can see here, I would only plan my long entry down here. There's also liquidity below, which is why I wouldn't enter any earlier. That would be one option. Another option I see now, I know this might look confusing, but I don't want to make the video too long, is that we might say we enter here at the level of 0.5, 0.681. 0.681 would be very interesting, and then possibly catch it as it drops down. I'm still, honestly, I'm not bearish, but I want to take advantage if we have good liquidity so that I can possibly go short to the downside, pick that up, and then take the next long position. The last trade, let's go through it again. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately for everyone who traded it, congratulations I have to say, because we went down once more exactly into this area I marked, which I shared with you. And after this first entry, as I said, we had an on-point entry. That was really on point. This little box down here was truly the perfect mark. You can see here it tapped in twice and now it's pumping again. Personally, unfortunately, I'm not in it, but that's just how it goes. I don't manage to enter every trade perfectly, but that's just how it was in this case. Then I also have Aster. There's a possibility with Aster, but it's very, very difficult. I really have to say that because of the liquidation, because we've now hit take profit several times at this structure break, 0.618 entry. If we continue to show this now, that was my last high, then that was my last low here as well. These entries, guys, watch the video if you don't know it yet. It works every time. I really can only recommend it. You can see here, low was hit, high 0.618 entry. Even if you get stopped out at the 0.5, it's no problem. You always have a 1 to 4.3 risk-reward ratio back into profit. The next possibility we have here is what I might be hinting at now, but the liquidity up here is currently still very weak, would be the 0.5 or rather 0.681. As possible entries for the next short opportunity, because we have to take a look, I haven't done that yet, since this was our break, where would the price target be for this bearish structure? That would actually be 1.19 to 0.92 or 0.78 if we really go down. Aster is an absolutely amazing project and can pump extremely at any time, so that's why I'm a bit cautious here. I think that's it for now, but feel free to leave some comments about which coins I should analyze for you. I'm happy to do that in the next video. Let's take a look at this together. At the moment, these are the coins I have open. Right now, I haven't found any other entry in advance. If something comes up, of course, I'll share it on Telegram. So with that, I'll see you next time. Ciao, ciao.